Welcome to My Zone Online School. My name is Teacher Mutsa. Get your education booklet in our daily newspaper, street sales, or at your school every Monday to Thursday for pre-primary up until grade 3. The lessons are for listening or watching online. Inside the newspapers, there is an insert of the lesson booklet. Please cut the top of the lesson booklet with a pair of scissors and fold it for ready to use. But there is more. We are also available on our online platforms, MyZone and Zoshi Facebook pages, and in addition, our website, Zoshi Online. Hello grade ones and welcome to My Zone Online School. My name is Teacher Mutsa and thank you so much for joining me today. Our theme this week is a clean environment, floating and sinking. And before we get into any lessons, boys and girls, we know that we need to sanitize. So let's take our sanitizer and rub inside our hands, around our hands, in between our fingers, on our wrists, and our fingertips too. Make sure your hands are dry before you touch anything else. For today's lesson, we will be doing reading comprehension, counting, and place value. Let's start today's lesson, boys and girls, by going to page 3. On page 3, we are going to be reading. Today's reading comprehension is all about cleaning the park. Now remember, we read our comprehensions 3 times. The first time is to understand what the story is all about. Then, after reading your questions, you go back and read it a second time. This time, you are hunting for your answers. The third time is to make sure that all the answers you found are correct. Let's start and read it for the first time together. We will begin at the heading. Cleaning the park. Ben and his friends went to the park with his dad. When they got there, it was filled with litter. They decided to clean the park. There was litter everywhere. Ben picked up candy wrappers, bottles, papers, and plastic bags. After an hour, everyone's bags were filled with litter. When they were done, his dad loaded the litter bags into his pickup truck to take them to the dump site. The park looked great. They put up signs around the park that read, "Please place litter into the dustbins and help keep the park clean." Oh wow, well done to Ben and his friends. They did a great thing. So now that we are done with our story and we know what it is all about, it's time to read the questions. Remember, we read each question 2 times. The first one says, Why did they clean the park? Why did they clean the park? The second one says, what did Ben pick up? What did Ben pick up? The third one says, who took the litter bags to the dump site? Who took the litter bags to the dump site? The fourth one says, will the park be filled with litter again? Will the park be filled with litter again? Motivate your answer. Now, when we say motivate, we're asking you to tell us why. So now that we have read our story and now we have gone to our questions, it's time to read it a second time to make sure that our eyes and ears are wide open to catch those answers. So, let's begin at the heading. This time, I'm going to read a little bit faster. I want you to follow with your pencil if you can. Cleaning the park. Ben and his friends went to the park with his dad. When they got there, it was filled with litter. They decided to clean the park. There was litter everywhere. Ben picked up candy wrappers, bottles, papers, and plastic bags. After an hour, everybody's bags were filled with litter. When they were done, his dad loaded the litter bags into his pickup truck to take them to the dump site. The park looked great. They put up signs around the park that read, "Please place litter in the dustbins and help keep the park clean." So boys and girls, go ahead and answer your questions now. Take your time. If you need to read it again before you answer, that's okay. It's better to make sure that everything is correct. I'll see you when you're done after the advert break.
Follow us on MyZone Facebook Active Kids to watch your daily lesson and other fun activities with Zoe and Zoshi.
Let's now move on to the next page, page 4. On page 4, we are going to have some fun counting in tens. It's going to be our job to write the next number and then follow the sequence. Now, as you can see, we are counting in tens. So all the numbers that end with 0 are the ones we're going to be doing today. We're going to do a few together, number 1 and number 2. So let's take a look at the board. Now on the board, I have written my number 1 and my number 2. So I want you to follow with your pencil and then write the correct number. We're going to start by counting from 10 for number 1. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40. What comes after 40? Well, if you said 50, well done! That is the correct answer. So go ahead and write 50, a 5 and a 0. Good job. Make sure that your numbers are the same size. Now let's do the second one. Remember, we're counting in tens. 30, 40, 50, 60. What comes after that? Well done! It is 70. Remember, counting in tens is very easy because first we put our number and a 0 behind. So it is a 7 and a 0 for the number 70. Now, I'm sure you can do the rest by yourself. Take your time, count out loud, and make sure that when you're counting, you are saying the numbers correctly. When you're done with that page, boys and girls, we can now move on to the next one on page 5. On page 5, we're going to be doing what is called place value. Now, I know you have been doing this with your teachers, so we're going to try and do it a different way. Now, remember, we have two friends when we are doing our place values, Mr. Tens and Mrs. Units. But today, Mrs. Units is Mrs. Ones. So it's the same person. We're going to do the example together so that they can show you how they got their answer, and then we are going to do the last one. So let's take a look at the board. The number we have been given, boys and girls, is 17. So we need to make sure that we split them in their place values. So how do we do that? We will start by putting a T at the top of 1 and then a U or an O today at the top of 7. That way we know which one is friends with Mr. Tens and Mrs. Ones. It looks like 1 is friends with tens. Can you see that? 1 is friends with tens. And then 7 is friends with ones. 7 is friends with ones. So how do we know this? We put our T and our O on top of our numbers. So now when we're making our numbers, we know that tens likes to have 2 digits. So we take our 1 and we put it there for 1, and then we put our 0 for tens. Now, Mrs. Ones doesn't like to play with a lot of friends, only one friend at a time. So if it is 7 here and 7 for ones, that means we will say plus 7. Now 10 plus 7, boys and girls, should give us our first number here, 17. So now let's try and use the same rules for the last one. The last one has 14. Can you see it? Well done. So we're going to start by putting a T on top of 1 and an O on top of 4 for 14. So it's easy now for us to see who's friends with who. 1 is friends with tens. So we're going to put our 1. And then 4 is friends with ones. So we're going to put our 4. So don't forget, when we put our place value signs on top, it makes it easy for us to understand who's friends with who. Now it's time for us to make the sum. We're going to start with the tens. Now, as we said before, you take your 1 and you put it in the first one. There we go, on the line. And then, because tens doesn't like to play by himself, we're going to give him a friend, 0. 0 is his friend. So it becomes 10. And then we said ones likes to play with just one friend. And the friend today is 4. So we're going to take our 4 and put it on the other side of the plus. And it becomes 10 plus 4. Now, if we count 10 plus 4, we should get 14. So let's see if we can get that one. I have 10 already and I need to count 4. So I'm going to count on. I say 10 is already there and I say 11, 12, 13, 14. So it is correct. 10 plus 4 gives us
14. So take your time, boys and girls. Make sure that you do all your work nice and neat. Remember to count out loud because that is what is going to help you. If you get stuck, that's okay. You can ask your teacher or an adult for help. Have fun, and I'll see you after the advert break.
Do you have children in the age range of 5 to 6 years and want to participate in our school booklet program? Please contact us on 081 74 3759 and we will put you on our distribution list for the attention of pre-primary schools. Topics include family, summer, culture, traditions and houses, transport and communications, occupations, autumn and more. We distribute countrywide in over 10 different languages.
Boys and girls, we have now come to the end of our lesson, but I hope you had fun. I know I did. Remember, if something is too hard for you, you can always ask an adult for help. But please make sure that you try and finish your work by yourself. So now that we are done, it is time to sanitize. Remember, sanitizing our hands makes all the germs that might be on our hands go away. So let's sanitize so we can stay nice and healthy. Make sure your hands are dry before you touch anything else. Zoshi said he would come and say hi to us today. Oh, there he is. Hello, Zoshi. So from Zoshi and I would like to say thank you so much for joining us today and goodbye.
Our online school will help you along the way. Find us at www.zoshi.online and download the booklet. Follow us on Facebook to never miss a video. Subscribe to our Zoshi Telegram channel if you want to receive daily updates. Proudly sponsored by the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture, Namibian Community Trust, UNICEF, My Zone Online School, Amos Meerkat Syllabus, and Capricorn Foundation.